What's up, everybody? Welcome to What's Up with the podcast. I am Will Watson, aka Watson the Box, and I am joined by my wonderful co-hosts and very good friends, Alan and AJ. Welcome, guys. How's it going?
Living the dream.
What dream is that?
Still living the same dream?
Everyone,
Should probably
everyone
wake
says
up.
living a dream. Yeah, what dream is that?
That's kind sometimes it's a nightmare, sometimes it's a dream. But
I think it's more the former than the latter.
Mm-hmm.
well.
I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare.
I remember that song.
Yeah. That actually had a resurgence on like TikTok and YouTube Shorts at one point. People would just be
Oh,
like they would, like,
oh,
mouth over, like, the intro to it, be like, "Hi, my name is Kyle, and my life is kinda crazy. I'm just a
the
kid, and
kid.
my life is a nightmare." Like, it just drives
What
right
is this?
into
An
it.
early 2000s teens TV show?
Yeah, exactly, that's exactly what everybody was doing, the just big trend on, like, TikTok and YouTube Shorts.
I mean, I think that originally stems from the. I bet you wonder how I got here. Well,
Record scratch. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. You're probably wondering how I got here.
Okay, I said record scratch, not stepping on a chihuahua. I think my cat just heard that because now she's looking at me concerningly. No, Lulu, there's no chihuahuas for you to chase. It's okay.
that's really loud.
It is.
I have to turn that down in the, edit. Anyways, what's going on with you guys today? You got
I'm just a
anything
kid.
major going on? You just a kid and your life's a nightmare?
No,
No, it's
nothing
more like,
really.
"I got a kid and my life is a nightmare."
I guess we could talk about this in the podcast. I got bitched at by my boss, and I yelled back at him, and he came up and apologized to me after.
Ooh, put a win for the books. Hell yeah, I love when that
Yeah,
happens.
I mean, it doesn't. I don't know if you could, what happened with that exchange. I don't know if you could get away with that anywhere else besides the kind of place where I work. But he's holding me to this standard that is the position that I have. I've had it for 3 months. He's holding me to the same standard as the guy who held it before me, who had the job for at least 15 years. And he had been, even before he held the position, he had covered for the guy and done the job most of his career with where I work. So basically, a guy with over 30 years experience, and then me, who's got maybe a total of a year and a half.
I had my boss do the same thing. It was a Monday, and Mondays are hectic, so I went to work.
Okay, Garfield.
Was doing a lot of stuff, obviously because it's crazy, and my position is where I'm at right now is nuts. And he comes up to me because I filed something wrong, and he gives me lip, like straight up, like almost practically f bombs. Like I know he wanted to drop one, essentially calling me an idiot because of how I did the filing. And I was like, I was completely like set back. I didn't know what to think because he got me like I didn't like have a response because he was calling me off guard. And then I got pissed, went back inside after I was outside and went right up to him and I was like, "You can't talk to me like that. I will not be talked that way." And before I can continue, he cut me off. He's like, "You're right. I'm sorry." I'm like, "What?"
Wow, yeah, that's nice.
He's great with that, but the problem is that he will go right to you when he's having a stressful day and make it your problem. And that
Mm,
that
mm.
stresses me out. It's like, "Come
That
on,
boss,
man.
that boss is the same way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
no,
a
actually, mine is
Monday."
too. I think it's just a boss thing.
No, I was a boss at one point, and like I worked at GameStop, and I was a manager, and it's really not that much of a thing. Like you can take that action, and I've done that. I can't say it's not. It doesn't exist, but there's a lot of times where you could think about what you're doing first, and I guess in the moment you think it's worth it. I was working at GameStop, and I had we had multiple monitors, multiple registers, and I closed all the registers down first into the last one. So I keep it open. I can do the petty cash and all that stuff before the end of the shift. And one of the part timers comes in and goes to the first computer, the one I first shut down, logs into it, and then clocks out. And because of that, it reset the whole system. So I had to recount all the cash again. And I lost my shit on them. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? I'm gonna have to call. I'm gonna have to call the tech company and let them know that I'm gonna be here for another hour. I have to reset the alarm." I was livid because it made me stay for another
It
hour and a
it
half.
literally reset like everything. That's
Oh yeah,
nuts.
yeah.
Yeah, and like I mean, bosses have their moments, and I get that. Oh, the whole I don't really believe in the shit rolls downhill. It's like, no, as a boss, it's kind of your job to absorb some of that shit.
You kind of have to be the dam of the river.
Yeah, it's part of
Yeah,
the job.
but I mean, yeah, this boss, my boss is the same. One of my bosses is the same way as that. He's like, oh, he's having I woke up today and I'm angry and I'm gonna make it everyone else's problem. That's
Mm.
him. Because I got bitched at a couple weeks ago just from standing near a guy. Like I wasn't on the I was delivering a piece of equipment. I wasn't like I unloaded the equipment and I was gonna leave. I'm not on the job. I'm not working for this guy. I don't know what's going on. I just know he needs the shovel, and I brought him the shovel. That's all I knew. And then the boss shows up, looks right at me, starts bitching to me about how oh this we're like a week behind, and he just goes off on me. He's like, I expected more from you, Armand, and I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? I'm not working here. I don't know the boss. And I look around, and everyone had like scattered, like cockroaches in the sunlight, just gone, scattered. It's like, oh, those guys were smart. And I brought it up with him like a couple days. Like this was like Friday. I talked to him about that little incident, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? He's like, oh, I was having a bad day. Sorry, you kind of took the brunt of that. I'm like, dude, that's bullshit. That's not how you talk to people. First of all, I wasn't on the job. Second of all, and I like let him have it, but in a respectful way. But
Right.
like that's bullshit. You can't be acting like that. It's not this like, oh, I hope he's having a good day when he talks to me. It's like I
The
get
dad in you came out.
I get like people are gonna have great days and bad days, but you can't wake up angry and make it everybody's problem. I literally told him that. And he just
Exactly.
chuckled. He's like, yeah, my bad.
Come on, you can wake up and choose violence.
And I know it's only you can 100% wake up and choose violence. That happens quite frequently. But like that was 2 weeks ago, and so I guess we'll see if it happens again. Because this was the same guy who so he was he's like a big boss now, but back when he was just a regular boss, he used to be on bipolar medication, which is fine. If you need meds, you need meds. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with taking meds. But he would forget to take them for one day, and then he wouldn't take them all week. So one bad day with him would turn into a week from hell for the entire crew because he ran the biggest crew where I work. And there was a guy, one of his regular guys. He got him like dragged up into the office and written up and kicked off the crew for 2 weeks because the boss was having a day, and the guy just goes, "All right, are you on your meds today? Because before I respond to what you're telling me, I need to know if you're on your medication." And
Mm.
that just set him off.
That's understandable, though. I get that.
But after that, he started taking his meds. He started taking his meds more regularly after that, so the message set in.
Well, at least your boss had the I don't know, the fuck is the word? I'm tired today. This is not my brain no function. It's like tip of my tongue. You know that moment where like you know the word, it's
Oh,
right
I
on the
know.
tip of
That's
your
why I'm not
tongue.
helping you. It's right there. It's right
Humility.
there.
Like he had the humility. That's the word.
You got this, Will.
Yeah, at least
Yeah,
he had the
there you go.
humility to apologize for the way he behaved after you went dad mode on him specifically.
Yeah, kind of.
Alan, you got anything?
Not really. Just a lot of the same old stuff. Getting anticipated for some of the game drops coming. Been reading more books. I finished up Mistborn finally, the whole series.
Oh yeah,
At
you were
least
telling me about that. Yeah.
the trilogy. I finished it up. Good. It progressively got a little less interesting compared to the first book, but overall it was good. I heard the second part of the second trilogy wasn't as good, so I kind of stopped there.
Mm,
Um,
that
I'm
sucks.
going to be I'm going to be watching. Yeah, because I wasn't sure. I'll go back to it at some point, but I kind of want to keep that high vibe going with some good stuff. I'm going to be watching Dune, and then hopefully going and seeing Dune 2 in theaters before I read the book, because I made the mistake with Percy Jackson to read the book and then watch the movie. And
Oh
honestly,
God.
yeah, you do the other way around. You watch
Yes.
the movie, then you read the book, because Percy Jackson, the first book, was great. It was awesome. The characters are really cool. I love North and Greek mythology, um, and it was really cool. The characters were cool. The story was cool. Even the second book was really cool. and I didn't really continue much because I was like, oh, let's go see the movie and then continue. The movie really stagnated me away from the series because the movie was just so bad. And so I'm
Yeah,
hoping that when I go
definitely.
watch Dune, you know, I'll get a good idea how it is, and then go listen to the book on audio, and that will be a good because I'm really just not trying to listen to that book right now because I don't want to ruin it before I watch the first movie. So,
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Yeah, I actually have the entire Percy Jackson series still in plastic wrap on my
oh,
shelf,
oh
completely
wow.
unopened. Yeah.
Well,
Like, I read them all, obviously, like, back in high school, well, middle
there
school
was
and high school, I read them all, but, yeah, I have an unopened entire case of all the books.
they were supposed to redo the movie, but I don't think it went through. I think it.
Well, they redid the books as a TV series on Disney.
Interesting.
Oh, that's what it was. Was it good?
Yeah. I got, like, 3 episodes in, it's okay.
Did they actually bring Aries' daughter into it this time? Because in the movie, they did not bring Ares' daughter in, who was a major plot point to the first book. Because she, Percy, was the son of a god. He did not know who it was, and eventually got revealed late, a late bloomer. And the main antagonist for the series in the first book was the daughter of Ares, who foiled him every turn. And then eventually, a la every anime ever, he was the goofy main character who triumphed over her. And then in the second book, because she was the tool that he required to get over to be like a stronger character. In the second book, she was a forced ally, and she was incredible because that's the first time you really see her go to combat and show off her abilities, being Ares' daughter, and she was insane. And they were doing another adventure like Odysseus, going through the trials and stuff like that, and she was an interesting and very valuable character. She went through a lot of progression within 2 books, and the fact that they in the movie they pulled her out was like, well, then she has no progression whatsoever. You can't just throw her in the second movie and be like, oh, she's bad, but now she's good, because then it just like it doesn't sit well. So
I mean, yes, I mean, they have Annabeth Chase.
I think that was her name.
Yeah. It really wasn't great of a show in my opinion. Like it just the quality to me, it's very Disney, which lately has been really, really turning me off. Disney just is really, really gone downhill for me. I'm not a huge fan of them as much as I used to be.
Correction,
Um,
it was Clarissa Daru.
she is in this, but I don't know if I got to that point yet. I don't think I did. I've only got like 2, 3 episodes in. I really just couldn't get into it. The acting really wasn't good. It was like forced in a lot of areas or like overly Disneyed, being like very, very soft, gentle. It's like,
Oh, I
it's
hate that.
weird. People aren't like this. And it just threw me off. The only person in the entire show, in my opinion, that I actually thought was a genuinely good actor was the kid that played Grover.
The
His
guy
name
from
is
Sesame
like
Street.
no, the goat, the best friend.
Ah,
So Grover, it's the guy. His name's like Aryan or something. Let me see. Percy Jackson Olympians.
I think the first book
Yeah,
was.
Aryan Simhadri is his name, but he is actually a very good actor. I like him a lot. Normally, Walker Scobell, the guy that plays Percy Jackson, or the kid I should say that plays Percy Jackson, is very good. He played young Ryan Reynolds um, in the Adam Project, which was he was really good in that. So I was like surprised to just he was okay.
I mean, I personally think the actor that did Percy Jackson in the movie wasn't bad. It just I think the script was really bad.
Yeah, no, I know who you're talking. Yeah, he's not bad either. It just I don't know. It was weird. It wasn't true to the stories. It had a lot of changes. It just wasn't good, and then
Oh yeah.
that's why they didn't get to finish because they weren't good. This I think is gonna finish because it is a lot closer to the story. It's just the acting and the CG, although it looks real, it's just very Disney lately, and it
I
just
mean,
throws
even
me off.
then, like I remember in the movie where like he gives. I'm looking at a still image actually, where he cuts Medusa's head off by giving her his phone. and then
Yeah.
cuts her head off that way. It's like, man, like you can't
Yeah,
modernize
it's
that. It just seems really
right.
silly.
Yeah, it's like the camera or something like that. He like just reflects it back.
Yeah.
It was stupid. I think that's for the episode I stopped watching. I think that was like episode 3. I was like, all right, I'm out. I can't.
But yeah, not much small talk. Just kind of doing more book reading and stuff like that. Kind of the same old, same old.
I keep saying I'm gonna read more books, and then I don't.
Do audiobooks, man. Audiobooks
I
are a wonder.
I do. So Spotify. This wasn't like recent, but I recently found out about it. Spotify has free audiobooks, and I think I mentioned it on this chat on this podcast a few weeks back. I listened to I almost said podcast, the audiobook of Murray Walker's autobiography, and like he reads his own autobiography. It's really cool, actually.
So I like Spotify. I use it. I have premium, but I would never recommend Spotify's audiobooks, because their
Really?
audiobooks have a time constraint on them. You can only listen to them for so long, and unless the book is less than 24 hours or something like that, or maybe 30 hours, I can't remember what it is, but they will charge you for more listening time. And um the way that the audiobooks work on Spotify is you only have so many hours to listen. But if you do Audible, you get one free book, the base subscription, like the more like average subscription, I guess.
Oh
You get
yeah, to
one
like
free
keep
book
per month. Yeah.
per month, yeah, and you can listen to it nonstop,
Yeah.
unfiltered,
Unlimited.
no unlimited times. Yep, if you own it, you can listen to it. You have samples you can listen to. You can buy books. Most of them are on sale, and they're cheaper than even buying extended audio time. For me, the extended audio time on Spotify was like $12, $10. Buying a book was like $15 on average on Audible. Definitely would recommend Audible.
Hashtag not sponsored. Yeah, I mean, if I listened to audiobooks more, I'd look into it. But whereas I listened to I listened to Murray Walker's book, and I started to listen to Gunther Steiner's audiobook.
Well, here's the thing: you can set up a free subscription, I believe, or I think they even have a less than a free subscription. It's like I forgot what it's called, but you can have like pretty easily option subscriptions, like very low pays, and I think there's one where you just get all books for free. It's like $5, but you don't get to keep any of the books.
No, I think it's you just as long as you have that subscription, you just get to read them, but you don't get to keep them in your library.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of variant options,
There's a
and
bunch of
honestly,
different options.
the idea of
Yeah.
keeping the books is probably just for the better, because then you can just listen to them at your leisure, which I like that so much.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, hey, Audible, not sponsored, but hey, we could be.
yeah, I mean, maybe if we were sponsored, I'd read audio. I'd go to Audible.
Coming
I
to a
Might
almost
be.
said
podcast
I
possibly
almost
near
said
you.
I'd read audiobooks more often. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I
you're
le-
reading them totally.
I read audiobooks more often, so
No, I got too many shows I'm trying to catch up on and finish up.
Yes, you do.
Um,
Shows and
which
movies.
kind of
Yes, you do.
which kind of segues into today's topic. Shows, TV shows.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start off with one question. What was your least favorite show to watch as a kid?
I'll go first because it's probably controversial, but
Oh
I have
boy.
like one or two. It's the regular show and Chowder, shit like that. I
Okay,
hated it.
all right. Will we need to host? We need to put out an ad for a new third person because this man's got to go.
Yep.
Those
Agreed.
shows were
Bye.
awful.
Hold on, can
Those
I?
were
I
awful.
can believe Chowder because that is a chaotic fucking show. I never know what's gonna happen, who's gonna show up. I didn't appreciate that show until a couple. I didn't fully appreciate that show until a couple of years ago. That and Flapjack. I didn't get Flapjack when it first came out. I'm like, this is just weird. But I'm watching it like last week, and this shit's hilarious. You got a lot of nerve coming into here, and then Captain firing right back at him. You got a lot of nerve being alive.
It was
But
nonsensical. It was gibberish,
yeah, Chowder I
trash.
can get, but regular show really?
Even the regular show at times had a lot of those moments, and it's really bad. Like, I think the regular show probably helps spur a bunch of good new shows. There's a bunch of other ones too that did it, because now you have Steven Universe, and what is the other one where they're at a camp? The main character is a boy and a female. I forgot what it's called.
Oh, is
I
that
know Camp Laszlo. I don't know about.
No,
no, not
that's
Camp
another
Lazlo.
love
I know which one
story.
is that. I know which one you're
Animated?
talking about.
Yeah, it's animated. I forgot what it is. Like the main character, or male or female, has like braces and stuff. Regardless, it's of the
Her
same
name's
generation.
Wendy. Her name's Wendy.
Yeah,
I can't think of
of
the
the
name
same
of it though.
generation. Those cartoons are definitely better than what we had as kids. Aside from like the classics like Ed, Ed and Eddie, which is nonsensical garbage, but at the same time, it was still a journey and an adventure that was fun. And it also was grounded to a point, unlike Chowder or the regular show, where it was just a bunch of random mishaps. And it was a little, I know it's gonna be controversial. People probably love the regular show. I didn't like it. I personally thought there were other better shows out there for the same kind of thing. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends was way better
Oh,
than the
dude,
regular
that
show.
was fantastic. I love Foster's
Yeah.
Home for Imaginary Friends.
So I'm not saying for nothing that those shows sucked because I have a lot of other shows that were fantastic.
Now,
But those shows were definitely, I think the regular show was probably on the teeter because a lot of it I just didn't like.
I liked regular show when it first came out, but I didn't truly appreciate that until I was in like high school, like towards the end of its not rain, towards the end of its like airtime. That's when I really started to appreciate it more because I don't remember how old I was when it first came out.
I mean, like this is like I'm just looking at a Google list right here real quick about like some Cartoon Network shows. I'm sure you could probably throw Disney's or whatever in there, but there's like some of them on here that just are clearly better than the rest. Like the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy
Oh, top tier.
was is goated, yeah. And then like Laszlo and Chatter on this list, including Cow and Chicken. Like that's so
I thought
bad.
Camp Lazlo was okay. I wasn't a huge fan of it.
Yeah, I didn't like Camp Laszlo that much. Same with like My Gym Partner's a Monkey. That was
Yeah,
garbage.
Oh, that was mediocre at best. Its best episodes were mediocre.
I didn't like any of them. I thought that was bad.
dude, even
My gym partner's a monkey was like a watered down Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
even
Which
Johnny
was a good show.
Bravo. Yes,
Johnny Bravo sucked too.
yeah, that was real bad. It was
Johnny
super
You know what
Bravo's top
sexist.
tier.
show? You know what show I liked kind of, but also was like, what the fuck am I watching? Was Johnny Test.
Dude, that show was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, Johnny Test was like Dexter's Lab meets
Crack.
something. Yeah, it's like regular show or whatever. One of those weird things. There's a
Yeah.
bunch of them like what is that robot one where it's like my teenage robot
My
or
Life
whatever?
is a
My
Teenage
Life is a
Robot.
Teenage
Yep,
Robot.
that
Yeah,
is
same.
one of my favorites. I actually liked that one a lot.
I like that
Those
one
are
a lot.
those are the same generation. Those are like the early
Yeah.
mid 2000s.
Right.
A lot of them were hit or miss. And this could just be nostalgia talking, but I think the 90s and early 2000s had like some of the best ones. Courage the Cowardly Dog, Dexter's
Yes,
Laboratory.
Courage was great. Dexter's the great. Doug was great. That was another good one there. You ever
Doug
watch
was
that?
good.
Doug Funny?
Yeah, I like Doug. Doug was funny. Doug
Yeah.
was a good show. You know what show was
Um,
actual like literal dumpster fire and even as a kid pissed me the fuck off?
What?
Caillou.
Yes.
Oh
Garbage.
yeah.
Caillou
Garbage
is
show.
the worst shit in the fucking world. Ugh, that is
I will say
awful.
there are young children's TVs shows though that are abysmal. Like you wouldn't even
Fucking
know.
Peppa
dude.
Pig. What is that garbage?
Peppa Pig is actually very funny.
hate
Have you seen
it.
the meme where like Peppa Pig is super salty on the phone call? So Peppa Pig's friend calls and brags about something that she got, and Peppa Pig just wasn't having it, and like her face was so blank, and just hangs up, savage as fuck. The
I
show
saw
is
that,
crazy.
But I still think the show is garbage. It's utter garbage. It is like the complete other end of the spectrum as Bluey. Bluey is a phenomenal show.
Bluey
I
Bluey is
watch it
one of the new age shows that
on
are really
my
fun.
own. I don't even watch it
Bluey's
with my
great.
kids. I will admit that I watch it on my own. I am in
same.
Facebook groups of adult fans of Bluey. Like it's a good ass show. I downloaded the video game that they just released on Xbox. The Game Pass just released their game for free, and I downloaded it. I'm looking at it right now. Bluey game.
That's a little much.
Nope.
I was saying before, there are a lot of like very young kid shows, and a lot of them have good a good amount of information for a lot of variations of people and understanding. And that's like, back when I was younger, you'd have a kid and then they'd see someone that's black in the store and then they would ask, hey, why are they black? Because they'd never seen them before. And as a kid, that's, there's an innocence there where it's fine, but obviously you teach them, you hopefully, avoid that situation so it's not awkward for both you and the person. They don't like, it's not, you want to avoid that as much as possible. But as a kid, it's a little more acceptable because they're getting used to it. You integrate them into society. There's a lot of shows now where they don't have that. They have that for you, and like things like I haven't seen Bluey. I don't have a kid, but things like
Doesn't
Bluey
matter. You
are
can watch it.
very inclusive, and they show a lot of information. On the other side of that, though, there are some that literally force feed you a bunch of stuff for your kid. And
There's one fun fact about Bluey. Sorry to cut you off. There's one thing about Bluey. You just said inclusive with it. There's one thing about it that the creators did specifically for this show is that they chose colors that dogs can see.
oh, really?
There are no colors besides if it's like required in the show that a dog can't see. So they
Really?
literally have it relate to the parents, relate to the kids, and dogs can enjoy it too.
I mean, I
That's
suppose
awesome.
I don't know many dogs that watch TV, but yeah.
I have a dog that does. Just chills there watching TV with us.
All right, I'm gonna mention a show. I don't know if you guys have even heard of it, because looking at it, somehow this thing aired for 2 seasons. Fanboy and Chum Chum.
It's awful. Garbage.
Terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah, I hated that show.
Terrible, no good, very bad.
I've never seen it before. I just looked it up.
You don't want to. It's
It's
awful.
it's not even like so bad it's good. It's like, no, it's just fucking terrible.
But that's
Mhm.
like what happened with when they reinvented Scooby Doo. Do you guys remember hearing about that one?
Reinvented Scooby, like,
Reinvented.
So do you remember?
oh,
You
with
guys watched The Office,
the
right?
Mindy Kaling
Mhm.
one.
Mindy Kaling, yeah. So she took it upon herself to do a whole new series, and she played Velma,
Like
which
an adult version in a way. Like not.
yes,
Yeah, I
yes,
know what you're talking about. It was on like
and
Amazon or something.
something, yeah. And the premise for it was really good, the whole point. But the problem was is how it was tackled. And as she played Velma, she came off as a fascist-styled womanist, anti-men, dry, desolate humor with a dark undertone. And like you might think, oh well, there's nothing wrong with those things generally because they're all about self-empowerment and like who doesn't like dry humor. It was really, really bad. Like Fred was the target butt of so many jokes for just being a white male. It was completely like anti-racism reversed back at people
Yeah,
for
isn't Shaggy a black guy?
right, which
Well,
I guess
right.
is fine if you reimagine characters as different things. But the problem was is that it tried way too hard.
I was so
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
can believe
interject.
that.
I was told Shaggy being black was to combine Shaggy and Scooby as one character,
I think so.
which
Yeah.
Oh,
I guess makes sense
maybe.
because Shaggy and Scooby in the like original Scooby Doo, and then What's New Scooby Doo, which theme song fucking slaps, by the way. It has no reason going that hard.
What's new, Scooby Doo?
We're
We're
going
coming
after
after
you,
you. We're
gonna
gonna solve
solve that
that. Yeah,
mystery. Yes,
good
exactly that.
song. Oh yeah.
That's like Shaggy and Scooby are kind of two halves of a whole idiot. So it made sense to me why they would combine that character.
Yeah, I don't think they had Scooby in the show. So yeah, I think you're right. But the problem was that it was centric on Velma's character and like it was just really dry and really bad. And it got negative reviews like crazy. People started watching it because it was so bad, but it's like no, you got to stop watching it because Mindy Kaling's like variation of that was a far cry from the concept. You don't want to support her.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate because she's done some funny shit before.
She has, but it was a train wreck.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, and I kind of want to go watch it now just to see how bad. It's like I saw it getting review bombed, and I'm like, oh,
No, it's bad.
it's because the internet hates women. That's why.
No, it's just bad. Like and the
But
thing is too is if you want to make a strong, empowered woman character, you totally can. And Velma is one of the characters to do that. She took the concept of what Velma was and completely decimated it. She had a good position to be in, regardless if the character was Indian, black, or whatever. Didn't tackle it well. Literally ruined the whole concept. Made her come off as a narcissistic like slightly racist or sexist character that cared about no one else but herself. And it's a shame to think that you had the concept and the plot there and the interest for people, but then you completely ruined it.
Damn.
Because I mean, this idea spurred from a long time ago with like some of the old school some of the old school Scooby Doo movies, like the one where they're on Zombie Island, is like a cult classic. The one where they deal with the witches. Those are classics because they aren't afraid to like talk about death. They're not afraid to talk about, oh, the mystery gang
Yeah,
isn't just like a dude in a
there's
mask. It's legit like dark stuff, and they're like, oh, this is scary.
3 of those movies came out at about, it was like one after another, bing bang boom. It was Zombie Island, the one with the witches, and then there's a third one that I never watched. It was like aliens and people from Mars and shit. That's all I remember about it. But I haven't actually seen the third one, but all 3 of those movies are fantastic.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Here's another bad one you guys might have forgot. I wasn't a fan of. This is one of my least favorite shows, but like if this was on, I just wouldn't watch TV. I'd go find something else to do. The Mighty Bee. You guys remember that?
Oh,
It
she
sounds
was
familiar.
psychotic. Wasn't that like Amy Poehler was like the voice or something?
I think yes, it was Amy Poehler. Yeah,
Yeah, I think I know that show is. Yeah, she was crazy.
I was not a fan of that show at all growing
This
up.
is very like new age at the time. It was very new age, more clean version of like Ren and Stimpy characters. Like they were eccentric as hell, and like there was a bunch of like weird like panel transitions where like they're super excitable, and yeah, it was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it was like the first in the new age, and it didn't quite land on the mark.
No.
Methinks that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Oh, apparently
I
got
actually.
rebooted for Paramount.
Oh
It got
God,
rebooted. Is that
Unless
why?
this is a
it
Google
shouldn't have.
image, but it shows deviant art, so maybe not, but maybe.
Oh, they're not. Yeah, they're not
As,
reliable.
as I
Probably not,
saw,
no.
oh, it's like, oh, 2 seasons. Like, really? 2 seasons? Huh. Interesting.
But yeah, shows
Uh,
will like if they get put on, especially the kids, they'll get put on for a season. If the numbers do okay, they're like, all right, we'll give you another season chance to possibly bring it up. And then if they don't, then it just gets canceled. That's why
yeah,
typically these shit shows
have
are
like
like
two
2
seasons.
seasons and then it's nothing. Yeah. I actually have 2 shows here that are at they have a very similar animation style because this was our like early 2000s where they tried to get like more like 3D animation. One of them was I don't know if you guys ever knew Butt Ugly Martians. You ever
But
seen
ugly
that?
Martians?
Butt Ugly Martians. It's
Pretty
a
sure.
horrible like it's
Oh
just
yeah,
don't look it up. It's terrifying looking.
it's not even in the same animation because it's like 3D. It's like claymation 3D. It's like really bad
Yeah,
Oh God,
it
CGI.
was
I
just
remember these.
awful. Yeah, it was
Oh, my buddy had
terrible.
one of these, and we shot it up with a paintball gun because it's we just
Nice.
we found it at, like Goodwill or something when we were in high school. It's like, oh, dude, what? Remember this show? And I'm like, no, because I have good taste.
Yeah, it was
I had a
terrible.
couple of video games. Yeah, I remember that.
But then the other show that I thought of that is a similar style at one point of so the show has two different animation styles. There's the regular like 2D anime type animation, and then it gets turned into that 3D shit animation. Have you guys ever heard of Code Lyoko?
Yes. Okay. So I'm
Mm.
actually mixed on that because Code Lyoko was actually really cool for its story segment, but it fell off as it went on because the problem was is it kept doing the same premise with
It
like
literally was the same thing. There was a bug in the system. They had to go into the system, defeat all the bugs, and then fix the tower, and that was it.
a lot of
Every
characters with
episode was the same thing.
yeah, there's a lot of characters with 5 heads. But even though the CG
Yeah,
animation
they
was
do have big
off,
square heads.
Yes, they do
uh,
have very
it
big
was
foreheads.
still very fun. The characters were interesting. The character
Yeah,
plot
that's
point was really
agreed.
cool.
I'm with you, or I'm like, it's a toss for. It's like up in the air for me. So I don't know if this was like good or it was just bad, but it was cool because the animation was like new because it was 2D to 3D and it had this like big like sequence, kind of like a Sailor Moon kind of sequence where they transform from their 2D into the 3D look, and it was interesting. But back when it came out, but if like something like this were to come out now, it would get destroyed. They would have to have a really good concept behind it, really good stories of when they're in the real world, or have, like, the real world and the digital world have more crossover than it did, and have it, like, multiple episodes are like one story, you know?
Well, actually, I disagree with you on that because even though I think the whole story overall was a problem because it seemed nonsensical throughout the plot. It took forever for them to get the female character that was
The pink
yeah, I forgot
Yep.
her name to unlock her because she was trapped in the program. They actually brought her. They brought her into. They brought her into the real world. So I think it was fine between the stories. Like the stories was like a high school drama. They were all living in school and they had to deal with each other, coming of age, dealing with other problems, like love and stuff like that. So it's iconic for like even anime, how general anime is. You know, a lot of people love that struggle that you get with the characters that are young and don't understand the world. But then they get the action side, and even though the animation wasn't good, I think if it was remade today, the animation probably would be a lot better. So I think it was a really good
It
show
definitely
overall.
could be, that's what I'm saying, I feel like it has potential,
Yeah.
but I don't know, I feel like I'd have to watch it again to really maybe understand because maybe my young mind didn't quite pick up on everything in the 2D animation part of it. Because all I remember from the 3D part was that they literally would, like, beam in. They would fight off all of these bots that are trying to, like, take over the computer system or whatever, and then they had to basically resurrect the tower by, like, floating up into the tower and then cleansing it or something like it that's all I remember.
I think they were cleansing like sectors of like the Lyoko universe or something.
Right.
Something
I
like
don't know,
that.
it was just I feel like there just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
All right. One more question. Actually, many more questions. But here's the next one. What is the most obscure show that you watched as a kid? Was there one?
The most obscure show? Like, what do you
Yeah,
mean?
like
Like, it not
there was
known?
a show that you liked, but like none of your friends really got into it. It wasn't like super popular, or it was a show that really you were the only one that watched it. Did you guys have a show like that?
Um, I don't think so. I think for me it was more movies than anything if it was like obscure stuff. Because TV shows, it was really just what was on TV. And back when we were young, it was like we didn't have DVR, we didn't have Netflix and stuff like that. So it was kind of
Yeah, it
just
was
what
like,
was
like, oh shit, hey, look, commercial's done, commercial's done, get back here. You're
yeah,
running, trying
exactly.
jumping over the couch. Yeah,
It's like whatever
couldn't
was
pause it.
on Nickelodeon or Disney or Cartoon Network, that's what I watched. So like I don't know, it's not so much obscure, no.
I think the problem too is when we were kids, a lot of the time people would watch the same stuff because obviously it was all the same stuff on the show. That's what people watched. But I think a lot of the time people were too afraid to say they liked it. Like now, you talk about like shows, people loved Recess. People loved Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Oh, I
But if
liked
you talked
Recess. I
about
love that and Eddie, yeah.
oh yeah, but if you talked about that stuff while you were in high school, you were a loser. No one watched that stuff. Even if
Oh, in
they
high
did,
school,
they
yeah.
didn't talk about it, right? So I would say there really is nothing that fits that category because technically everyone pretended they didn't watch the show, but in reality, they grew up with the same stuff and they all loved it. Just no one it was nerdy and lame if you talked about it.
Right.
Well, in high
So
school, yeah, but I mean, in like middle school and elementary school,
yeah,
it's
but
young.
AJ, you have to keep in mind though, I know it doesn't sound like it's a big difference, but he is 4 to 5 years older than we are. You
Yeah,
and
it's
I are
true.
27 and 28, he's 32. So
$33.
when we were in 33, there you go. When we were in middle
Middle
school,
school,
he
he was
was
in high
close to
school. Yeah.
graduating high school. So
Well, I'm sure he
that was the
watched TV
difference
in
there.
middle school.
So what show did you guys watch growing up? Because like I said mostly what I
Well,
watched.
to answer my own question, the most obscure show that I really enjoyed was Cat Scratch.
Cat scratch.
Ooh, I don't think I remember that.
Dude, I love that show. It was the funniest. It's just three cats,
Oh, I know that one.
and
Yes.
and they had like a mansion, and they're just rich as fuck, and they just did the dumbest shit. It's like,
I
oh, this
do
is
know
great.
that.
And I tried to like this was in I was in elementary school when this aired, and I tried to talk to other kids about it, and they're like, no, we watched like this instead.
Oh, that's
We
very
don't want to watch
much
it. We don't want to watch a show about cats. And it's like growing up, none of my friends watched this.
I did
I'm like,
watch that a little bit. I think that was like a twist on like Cat Dog and Pinky and the Brain and stuff like that.
Yeah, ooh, Cat Dog. That was
yeah,
another
because
one.
well, here's the thing: Cat Scratch started airing about the same time Cat Dog stopped.
Yes.
Which you're right, it kind of like picked up the slack from Cat Dog, but it's like totally different premise. And I mean, I loved Cat Dog, I loved Cat Scratch.
Well, I mean, it's 3 different cats as opposed to a cat dog that are going on random adventures with the less worry of like the environment that they're around and more like the environment that they cause. And you have the iconic trope: the smart one who's actually an idiot, the idiot who's actually the smart one, and then the average dope.
Yeah, and the average Scottish dope.
Sure.
Yeah, the orange and white one had a super thick Scottish accent.
Oh my god, I just typed in like obscure shows from the 2000s, and there's quite a few here that I'm like, oh shit, I did watch that. Oh, I did watch that. Oh my god, that one too. Yeah, like I'm going down the list here. All the
Bro, you're
pictures.
you're cheating.
It's crazy though. There's like a ton here. Like Static Shock. You ever watch that one?
That's not
I,
obscure. That's
that's not.
fantastic.
There's no way that's
It was a
obscure. That's a
great
good
show, but
show.
it just reminded me of shows in general. What about like LT Grade? Did you ever watch that one?
I didn't like LT Gray. I wasn't a
Yeah,
fan of
I
it.
liked that one. Luchador whatever theme to
Yeah,
it.
well,
I thought that
that
was
came out
cool.
like right after Nacho Libre, and it was just kind of like piggybacking off of that whole
Dude, what
luchador
about
kind of thing.
Angelica Anaconda?
Oh, I don't know that one.
I'm gonna
Okay.
Google that one. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, that one was bad.
Oh, I remember seeing that. Dude, this animation style always like creeped me out.
It was super creepy.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah. Oh, that's awful. No, I hated it. That grossed me out, creeped me out
Yeah,
beyond.
thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, I hate
No.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not like that. It scared me. I didn't like
Yeah,
it.
real bad.
How
Then
about
they
My Dad the Rockstar? Did you guys watch that?
no.
It was
No.
Gene Simmons tried to do a kids cartoon, and it was
Oh
not great.
god.
I will say one of my favorite shows growing up was definitely you know, like Teen Titans or
Oh yeah.
Titans was
aside
great.
from the classics like Hey Arnold and stuff like that, but Teen Titans and Drake and Josh and
Yep.
I love superhero stuff. Like Static Shock was amazing.
Oh, did you
So
guys know? Do you guys know Ubi?
Ubi?
no.
Ubi. It's like the hand puppets with the two eyeballs, where they just like they don't actually say words; they just make sounds. But it's like a puppet show with actual hands and like two like eyeballs glued to the hand.
Bro, you just unlocked a core memory I didn't know existed.
No, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's
You
just
know what
two
I'm
eyeballs
talking about,
glued to the
right?
hand. Yeah.
Yeah, OOBI. It's Ubi.
Oh, that's what it's called? Yeah, I remember seeing that before actually.
Yeah, that was obscure. That one's crazy.
That
Wow,
was
that's
very
weird.
obscure.
What
Yeah.
what about Maggie and the Ferocious Beast?
I knew of it, but I never really got into that.
I liked that one a lot.
Oh no, I didn't like that.
Yeah, I liked that one. That
That
was
was
cool.
very much a kid's show. Like a very, very young kid show.
Again, I was younger than
Wow.
you.
So one of the top, people ask on Google, why was Ubi canceled? The guy who created Ubi started working on Wonder Pets instead. They wanted more seasons of it, but he moved on to another project.
Ew.
Dude, Maggie and the
Oh.
Ferocious Beast is like where the wild things are. Meet Dora.
Wonder Pets. I thought that was like not it wasn't a terrible show for a kid show.
Dude, imagine being the actor for Ubi, where it's like, all right, what do we do? He's gonna hold
Bro, it's
eyes
just
over
your
your
hand.
head. Yeah.
Oh god, did you guys? This is one of those. This adds to the list of awful shows. Did you guys ever watch Doodle Bops?
Me on Hubba Bubble.
Doodle Box?
Doodle Bop. BOPS.
I thought you said Doodle Bob. Oh no, I never saw that
Doodle
before.
Bops.
The
That
Doodle
looks
Bops.
atrocious.
It was horrendous. They were like singers and dancers or whatever. It was
What
like
is
the Wiggles, but awful.
but
I
worse?
hated it.
Creepier, yeah.
It was so bad.
The Wiggles on drugs.
Legit. It was awful. Nobody go watch it. It was one of the worst shows ever. I hated it
Yet
so
somehow it had 3
much.
seasons.
Right, because it was musical. That's why it added to it. Because like the music, I guess, really like grabbed the kids, and they were like, "Oh, this is really good," and like they liked it, and they had like a bus that they'd go on, and they'd go like perform live afterwards. It was awful.
Speaking of that, on a side note, listening to Fruit Salad by the Wiggles with a
Fruit
crossover
salad?
of
Yummy, yummy.
Slipknot's what was it? Slipknot song? Psychosocial.
I was gonna say they have a lot, so I don't know.
Slipknot Psychosocial
Okay,
mixed with Fruit Salad by the Wiggles is fire. It's so
it's a
good.
it's a bop.
Oh, it's a bop. It's
Check it out.
amazing. Yeah.
Yummy, 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 yummy fruit salad.
I did my time and I went out. So if you say it doesn't cut, the soul is not so vibrant.
Yeah, look it up. It's fantastic. Some of those old school ones, when you mixed it with stuff, it was pretty funny and pretty interesting. But yeah, no, I wasn't into that. Obviously, it was real bad.
Oh, did you guys watch Lazy Town?
That too. That was really
Lazy
weird.
Town was pretty
Yeah.
good.
No, I liked Lazy Town. I thought that was good. I actually had a crush on the girl though, so that was
You and everyone else. She was actually. I believe the show got shut down for a lot of reasons because of that. Because there was like I think there was a lot of sexual undertones in the show or something like that, or something happened. I can't remember. I remember hearing about something. And I think it was either people did it or the show had something happen, so it got canceled because of that. I could be wrong.
I don't know. I know that she got a little too old to play the part. Like she started developing more of like a womanly body. So
Yeah,
then they
I think that
replaced
was.
her. That might have
I
been
think
what it
that
was.
was the issue. Yeah, she. I think
'Cause
it's because
she was a
like,
very cute girl. She was very thin, very fit, and then they like replaced her with somebody that was like almost the exact same thing.
I think that was the backlash that happened because they replaced her when she started developing features to show that she was a woman. They got rid of her because like I don't know what it was, and I think they got backlash because I think the actress was like suing them or something because of it or something. I
Oh,
can't
maybe.
remember. I just remember something happened with her in some regard to that. So, and the show got canceled. I think.
Yeah, then they rebooted it like 10 years
I,
later.
I mean, it doesn't make sense if you have a character with an image, but like at the
But
same
actually, it
time,
actually brought the same two guys back too.
yeah, but at the same time, if you're gonna have a show with a young person that's growing up and you want them to be carried over to a new generation so that people can relate to them, why would you not show her aging? Like,
They wanted, like
Exactly.
you said, they had that character had a specific image that they wanted the actress to fit, and she didn't fit that image anymore. And then the production company went about it the total wrong way. They just totally screwed the pooch.
what's the thing is like with, especially with females, like that's a huge thing you can't do because that. I mean, I could be wrong here, but that sounds sexist to me. Like she's like, oh no, she's developing into a woman. We don't want that. We want a child. That's
Yeah, no, I
gross.
get
It's like
that. I get that.
what the hell, man? Exactly. It's like what the hell? Like she was still good. She was a character everyone knew. It's like don't change that. Like if you didn't want a character to age, make it a cartoon. Like that's the whole point. They could have stylized it to make it a cartoon and just
They
did
actually
like
could have. That actually would
race.
have been better. It would have been less freaky looking with the like animatronic characters of the village.
Yeah.
Yeah, of like the whole town. They're like all little marionette animatronic things, but I think there's actual people in it, so I think it would just be a marionette costume. I don't know. They were weird, but it wasn't enough to like scare me away. You know what show was really weird though, and it didn't scare me away. It actually drew me in because I felt like I was having like an acid trip every time I watched it. Did you guys ever watch Booba?
Mm,
Boohbah. These fucking things. It's like Teletubbies on crack
Why is everything on crack now?
because
Booba?
Why do they have fur necks and then like soft skin heads? That's
yeah,
really
because
weird.
their heads pop into their bodies. They turn into just the orbs. Their arms and legs and head pop into their bodies like a turtle.
I think I saw those things first time I did mushrooms.
Right. No, the shows are
What is
literally
going
like
on?
if you see the videos of them like floating around in the air, that is 100% what happens in the show. They somehow gain the ability to like fly and shit. Like it's weird.
Looking at some of these pictures here, a lot of them have like a very bright white and colorful background, so like it just seems trippy alone.
Oh god. Okay, I'm tabbing away from that. Here's a show. I know this wasn't, switching gears now. This wasn't obscure, but I was the only one of my friends that watched this show for sure. Thomas the Tank Engine. Did you guys ever get into that?
Did you ever watch The Real Show? It's a British show. Did you ever watch The Real Show?
I watched whatever aired on TV when I was a kid, which is probably not the British version.
I don't know if they filtered it. I think they didn't for a short time because I remember watching some of these episodes. The real Thomas the Tank Engine shows are brutal. They're savage. Like, so one of the
Oh
this
yeah,
is yeah,
yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
they took one of the characters who was afraid to do something, and instead of figuring out how to solve why that train was afraid of something, they locked them away as punishment forever.
no, 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 no,
Um,
no, no. Hold on, I'm gonna stop you there. They didn't lock him away. They bricked him up in a tunnel, so he had to sit there like and watch the brick by brick just encompass him. And that is just way more savage than just okay, you're gonna get put over there off to the side. It's like no, you're gonna watch this man enclose you in this tunnel forever
well, there was
until
other
you overcome
episodes
your fear.
There's other episodes too where Thomas would essentially just see tragedy after tragedy, and that was like the character progression in the series, where like something would happen and Thomas would have a query about it and then how to get over it. And a lot of the time, the resolve method for it was, oh well, I guess I'll just go on with my life. And it was really dark. It was very messed up. It did not have any resolution whatsoever, aside from, well, this doesn't work, screw you, moving on. And you're like, that's brutal. It was, I think it got readapted as a kid show much, much later, where you see like the iconic Thomas, very bubbly face, very bright colors instead of the realistic, only eye moving. Like the advanced one had like the eyebrows and the facial animations. The original one
Yeah,
was like an animatronic, and
the
those were really rough. They were
yeah
like realistic looking.
the animatronics were like 1/5, like 1/10 scale or something. They were huge, like model trains, and yeah, between the shots they'd like change out the whole faceplate, and that's how they'd show emotions. Yeah, that's the one that I watched. I never watched like the animated
Yeah.
one.
The animated one I think was called Thomas and Friends, but the original was Thomas the Tank Engine, and that one was rough. And Thomas was an awful character. He was smug and rude because he didn't understand things, and so he approached them very rudely.
Yeah,
So
no, he approached them like basically like a child, and he usually got what was coming to him. As mean as that sounds, yeah, he fucked around and found out a whole bunch of times. And then that movie was solid. Did you ever watch the movie that came out for it? It had Alec Baldwin, it had a couple of like big name actors in it, and it was actually a decent movie. I liked it,
I never got into Thomas. I don't know. I think I watched like a couple episodes because it was like on, but I never got into it.
dude. I'll be honest, I don't remember what like TV station it was on, but I was super into Thomas since I was like a little kid. Like one of my first memories is watching Thomas the Tank Engine when was I remember where I was, and I told my parents about it years later, and they're like, "Oh, that was in this apartment, so you were about 2 or 3 years old."
again, another this is old school, but Biggie Smalls, Thomas the Tank Engine mix up. That was
I
fire
have
too.
that. I have that spot. That's on Spotify, and it's in my playlist. I listen to almost every day.
Come on, motherfuckers, come on. I got 7 Mac 11s, about 8, 38s, 9, 9, 10 Mac 10s, the shit's never end.
Amazing.
It's like a 10-hour playlist, so I don't hear it every day, but I hear it quite often, and that shit slaps.
So we talking about like bad shows today? Is that what it is, or just regular TV shows? Because it seems like we're talking about a lot of really bad shows.
Nah, just TV shows in general. Because all the first, I started off with the favorite and then least favorite, and we've been talking about least favorites for a while because there was a lot of really bad, like only 1 or 2 seasons came out because there was like an experimental era, like when when the good old shows like Johnny Bravo, Cat Dog, Angry Beavers, when all those started to end, they were trying all kinds of things to see what sticks, see what shows were good, see what shows were received well. And so there's a whole bunch of really, really just not great shows out there. Just like one, maybe 2 seasons.
Did you have like other like questions besides just the favorite and the least favorite?
Yeah. Have you watched your parents' favorite shows growing up, if your parents watched TV?
So my mom didn't really watch a lot. She typically watched she like what the only things that I could really remember that she ever really watched was like she would watch movies with my stepdad, or if she was watching TV, it was General Hospital, and I never watched it. I couldn't get into it. I'm not a soap opera fan. But my stepdad watched a lot of like old shows, and I'm not saying old as like 90s and 80s. I'm saying like back to like Cheers and like Night Court and All in the Family, like all those older shows from like the 50s, 60s, like they're old. But I got into those a lot. Taxi is another one. I like those. I actually tried to get my wife to start watching some of them with me because I found some of them on like Amazon and Netflix and stuff.
My dad was super into a lot of TV drama, surprisingly, and we watched other stuff. He ended up getting into Naruto and Dragon Ball when that was existing, so that was cool because I started having something I could relate to him with. He was awful with it though. He would scream at the TV with Dragon Ball playing when they would just stand there and not do anything, and he would say verbatim, "Oh, just fucking fight already," and I would like die laughing inside. I'm like,
Well,
it's
yeah,
it is bad. It was bad. I will give it to him.
he's right.
Dragon Ball and playing Namek
Yeah,
was awful.
he's not wrong. Not
He's
at
not
all.
wrong at all.
It took-
There's a process to these things. There's a lot of talking. There's a build up. You know, there was a lot that made Namek's really fun to watch because of that build up. It was important to the plot. It was a lot.
3
though.
episodes of build-up was important to the
Yeah,
plot
I
of
feel
Frieza
like
and
you
Goku
don't
fighting.
need. I feel like you don't need 6 episodes, all 25 minutes long, for one fight. That's why they have thousands of episodes of these anime, because they do all
filler.
this
Right.
unnecessary build up
you
and
can't
filler.
talk about thousands of episodes because One Piece is still going and there's still a very active fan base.
Yeah,
Well-
but they are supposedly ending this season.
No.
No, they're not. He also watched OCC. He also watched OCC, which was or whatever it was called. It was West County West Choppers or something. It was a I'm not sure if you guys seen it before. It was the old dad with like the mustache and the young dude, and they'd always get into
Ooh,
fights.
Yes, West Coast Chopper.
Yeah,
I
he'd
saw
always
that.
watch that crap, and it was just annoying because like they would argue over the dumbest things, and it was clearly a TV show that they like upsold the drama, but the drama was awful. It like almost felt like they were gonna rip each other's
Terrible.
throats out, and I was like, why would
Every
you watch
episode was like
this?
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So basically, soap opera.
essentially, yeah.
But
So he
with
loved watching.
motorcycles. Yeah.
Yeah, he loved watching any sort of tech show, which I didn't appreciate as much when I was a kid. But most of the stuff he watched was garbage. But then he'd also watch some anime and stuff. So he had a good mixture. But there was a lot of stuff I watched that he watched.
Wow,
Mhm.
your dad had like a hell of a range there. That's pretty cool.
I did watch South Park and I forgot what the other show was. Simpsons. My mother hated both. Obviously, South Park more than
Yeah,
the other.
that's a given.
But she thought The Simpsons was really bad, even though it wasn't so bad. But South Park, she had no idea I watched South Park for the longest time. That was way more atrocious. I
Oh, along
loved it.
along that same vein, my stepdad and I used to watch the Three Stooges, and my mother hated that shit. I thought it was
Really?
the best. I thought it was the best. Yeah, my mother hated it. My grandmother hated it. Me, my stepdad, and my grandfather,
my
we all fucking
gosh.
loved it. We thought it was the
Three
best shit.
Stooges is like the most innocent comedy show ever.
It is. It's just so turn your brain off and just laugh. Like it's the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah, it was very stupid, but it was great. Curly,
Yeah.
Mo, and Larry.
And then Shemp every once in a while.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that was a good show. Actually, I think I have like a DVD set somewhere of that.
My father-in-law is, I wouldn't say obsessed, but his favorite, he doesn't watch much TV. He's an outdoorsy guy. His favorite show of all time is Three Stooges. He got married in a Three Stooges tie.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Kind of like, I had the same idea. I got married in a Looney Tunes tie.
Well, there you go.
Looney Tunes is tied as my favorite show of all time. Fucking love Looney Tunes.
What's it tied with?
Primal?
Primal?
Yeah, I
Primal.
don't know.
Yeah, the what? You guys don't know Primal?
Primal.
So you know the guy that did Symbionic Titan, Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack?
At the dawn
What's
of
the-
evolution, a caveman and a dinosaur on the brink of extinction bond over unfortunate tragedies and become each other's only hope of survival in a treacherous world.
Dude, I don't say this often, but Will, as a father, there is one episode where you're gonna shed a couple tears.
I'll
That's
have
all
to
I'm
check
gonna
it
say.
out. What's it on?
What does it matter if you're a father or not? Men cry.
Well, yeah, I mean, it especially hits it hits closer to home having children and going through that. Like, you know, you're right, men cry, and Alan, you might appreciate it just as much as I do, and you don't have kids.
I
But
don't
I'm just
know.
saying,
I think the idea of a Tyrannosaurus Rex teaming up with a human just is very silly in its own idea, but it could be good. The animation looks very good, very Samurai Jacky. So
Yeah, no,
I love Samurai
the
Jack.
guy
So
that did Samurai Jack, Gendy Tartakovsky, he's the one that he did Primal,
Yeah, it
and this is
specifically says that it's his show. Like
right.
if you search Primal on Max, which is where it's on, you can watch it if you have a Max subscription. I think it's on Hulu, Amazon, everywhere. It says Gendy Tartakovsky's Primal, which I did just add to my list, so I will check that out.
I bought it on Blu-ray, and I've it's only 2 seasons. I don't know if they're gonna do more because at the end of the second season sort of wraps it up, but it leaves it a little open-ended. It's definitely not a cliffhanger or anything, but I hope they do more.
Well,
And
you know
it's
what? Like
my
you say,
favorite
you
show of
don't know
all
if they'll
time.
do it more, and it's like a cliffhanger. There's a show that I actually watched a couple years back that I actually signed a petition to have it either rebooted or continued or something because I loved it so ridiculously much, and it only lasted for one season because Netflix was a bastard in this year and decided to cancel a bunch of their Netflix exclusive shows. It wasn't because of numbers. It was actually doing really good numbers. It was top 10 for a couple months. Have you
Really?
guys ever heard of Daybreak?
No.
can't say I have.
Dude, it's on Netflix. I can't recommend it enough. It's a zombie apocalypse show, but only adults became zombies. Anybody under the age of 18 is still a regular human.
So it's Lord
And
of the Flies with
And
zombies.
it's yeah, but it's like these kids are just trying to survive
I
in
was
a
just thinking
world
the
of, like,
same thing.
adults. But it's so fucking good. It's so great because it's like it's based in LA, and you know how LA already has, like, a bunch of sub-cities to it? It's like there's Los Angeles, but then there's, like, Hollywood and etcetera. So, they have, like, sub-cities of LA, which are like this is the clan of this group. Like they have the jocks, they're over here, and then they have the mathletes, they're over here, and it's all split up like that. And so it's like there's comedy to it, but there's also a lot of drama to it. But it's just so fucking good. It really,
Bro,
really
they
is.
got
It's
Matthew
honestly like
Broderick in this?
yes, he plays a principal of the school, I believe it was. He was like the main bad guy of the
I
show,
mean, it sounds like 100 things to do before you turn into a zombie. That
which
anime.
actually was based off of this.
Probably the
Yes.
unfortunate side with that is that studio is taking a long time to
Mhm.
produce the episodes, but
Yeah.
that anime is very good too.
Yeah, it's actually on my list. I think that was on Netflix, right? That it just released recently.
Yes, it's very
Yeah,
good.
that's on my list. I cannot recommend Daybreak more. That would be like if I had to choose one TV show in the world to continue or reboot or something, it would be Daybreak. I love it so much. So I feel like that would be like my primal for you. Like it's so fucking good.
No, I get that. I can hear the passion in your voice, man.
I just started watching some new shows. I haven't had a chance to fully watch it yet, but the new show on Toonami, Ninja Kamui, looks so good. It's brutal, it's intense, but the animation quality, the fighting, the trailer shows a dude fighting a bunch of ninjas that come chase after him to execute him for some reason, and the way he moves and the animation quality in it is intense. It's like I think it's 30 seconds, and it has you go all over the place with like wondering what's gonna happen next, and in the end leaves you aghast. Very good. Love that stuff. I grew up
uh,
watching Adult Swim a lot when I was younger. That's kind of what I would watch
Well,
mostly.
I snuck in if I could, yeah. I wasn't allowed to, but as soon as it like clicks over to like 10 o'clock at night, you're like, hey. So I have like what is it, 8 things here on a list that I just wanted to read off real quick because these for me were like some of these were like, this is an obvious yes, this should be here. But I feel like for us, because we've already talked about it in a previous episode, like Avatar, that's like an obvious, okay, this is a
Oh
good
yeah.
ass show. Like that's if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. Don't worry about the live action one. It didn't keep up. But the original animation is fantastic. I just rewatched it again recently. I still love it. Now I'm watching Korra, which is also pretty good too. Um, but there's a couple shows here. Did you guys ever see Robot Boy?
Maybe.
That sounds familiar.
See, that was another show that got
Boy.
canceled too quickly. I don't know why it got canceled. I think it was only a couple seasons. It was like 2 or 3 seasons, but
Is it
it was
Veer
like
the Robot
Oh
Boy?
yeah, I remember
no,
seeing
it's
that.
just Robot
Oh no,
Boy.
Robot. Okay, I remember.
The
I
little
got a
blue
picture
and
of it
gray
here.
Robot Boy.
Yeah, with the little bitty green eyes. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I loved that show.
Before my life as a teenage robot, this one came out, so it was
Yeah,
very
it did.
kid.
But I loved that
I
show.
feel like
Honestly, there's I
my life as a teenage robot like looked at Robot Boy. It's like, okay, here's some things we'll do differently, and then they did their thing. I
Yeah.
I
like
mean,
Robot Boy.
Robot Boy was also very much like Digimon for a time, or like even
I was
an
gonna say
old
Ash.
anime I watched that no one really knows about, Zatch Bell.
I know Zatch Bell. Yes, the marionettes. Yeah.
Yes,
Zatch
you'd
Bell.
have
Absolutely. That was a fantastic fucking show, and it lasted what for like a season or two. Like it was nothing to it, but
I
it
think it
was
was like 3
so good.
seasons. But
Was it
yeah,
3? Yeah, I
yeah.
love Zatch Bell, dude.
The
Oh,
idea
I've
was
seen this.
you had like little marionette creatures, or in this case robots, but then they had an evolved form, or they powered up, whatever, very much like Digimon or whatever. Not as intense as Digimon, because Digimon had like 80 forms you could be. But the idea was you had like there was one of this type, and then they had like a power up or whatever. And Zatch Bell was like that as well. You could only have one. Sometimes the person had a two, and you're like, mind blown. How do you have two? But Robot
Yeah,
Boy,
yeah.
he had a power up version of himself.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he had like multiple like evolutions in a way where it was like he had the baby version of him, and then he went into like a real battle mode, which was like a teenage version, and then he had like a
Yep.
fucking monster version of himself where he just went like rage mode. Yeah, it was awesome. But that is fantastic. I loved that show as a kid. It was
I
great.
love that concept. I think that concept was really cool and definitely reminiscent of the time.
Definitely. I have 2 here that are kind of similar in a way. Kim Possible and then Totally
Classic.
Spies. Did you guys watch either of those? Oh, Kim
Yeah.
Possible, I'm sure.
I
Totally
didn't get into
Spies.
Kim Possible, but
What?
I watched Totally Spies, and like you said, earlier in the podcast, where it's like, oh, you watch a show and you can't talk about it because you'll get bullied for it. I never talked about Totally Spies because that was that show for me. It's like if
You
I
know what? I
say
guess I
anything,
could consider that my obscure one. Yeah, but I talked about
Totally
it though.
Spies was
I got made
hilarious.
fun of for it because of it, but I didn't.
Because there were
I,
female characters.
I don't know.
People
For
made fun
me,
of me for Powerpuff Girls too.
yeah, no, for me it was like I didn't care about like showing people what I liked. I was never like hidden about that. I'm honestly a very very open book with anything. I don't lie. It actually physically hurts me when I lie. It's weird, but I don't lie about things. And I'm very open, very honest with my emotions and what I'm interested in. I don't care about what other people think about. So if they have a problem with it, it's like, all right, well, fuck you. Whatever. So Totally Spies was like another thing for me. It was I liked that show a lot. I also, it was 3 hot girls, so it was like
Yeah, well,
also
like you
a
said,
plus.
it's like everybody loved Powerpuff Girls, and then there's all this Totally Spies. It's just 3 girls, but instead of being superheroes, they're spies, and they're grown up, and they're quite attractive. So it's like I don't
Me,
get why. I
yeah,
told
me.
I told one of my buddies about it, and he bullied me relentlessly for it. I'm like, dude, I'm just watching hot cartoon chicks. Why is that a bad thing?
Right?
It was essentially the cartoon version of like Charlie's Angels.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It was. It
That's
was like the kids version of it, honestly.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that like that were older that watched Charlie's Angels because of how overly sexualized it was. And also female empowerment was badass. Speaking of that, one of the more awesome shows I watched growing up was Xena Warrior Princess. That was
And
amazing
I
when I was
never
a
watched
kid.
that one.
Oh, I mean it probably doesn't age very well now, but that show was amazing.
Yeah, I never watched that one, unfortunately. It was
wasn't
like up in
that
space, right? Or no?
No.
Maybe I'm thinking of something
no
else.
Xena? That's a bit before our.
That's
I don't want
before
to say
my
that.
time.
I was gonna say that's before all of our time. That came out. I want to say that was early '90s. That came out. I'm looking
No, it
it
95,
came
up
out in
right
like
now.
yeah.
I think that
95
came
it
out in
said.
the actual 80s. Oh, it came out in 95.
Oh,
Weird.
95. Yeah, it's. I wonder how. I mean, 6 series, 6 seasons. I wonder how that show ages now.
Oh, I'm
I never
thinking
got into that.
I was thinking Xenon. Zenon. That's what I was thinking of.
No, Xena Warrior Princess.
Yeah, no, I typed it in. I found it. Then I was like, was it Xenon that I'm thinking of? Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, which was
Xenon?
crappy. It was a Disney Channel movie turned into TV show. It was not great.
Oh, that looks terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I was like, I couldn't get into that.
Yeah, Xena was a badass who was like training this other character who she stole away because she was a female that got abused, and Xena's like, Psh, I'm beyond that because I put men in their fucking place, and she
I'm out
did,
of here.
and she wielded a sword and
cool.
a chakram.
I got a thing
And
for powerful women, so
oh,
I might like that a lot.
she's right up your alley. And like honestly, even though her outfit was scampy, it was very reminiscent of like obviously
Scampy.
fantasy, but it was reminiscent of like Greek or Norse mythology. Like she had
Ooh, cool.
leather and partial breastplate, mostly plate on her breasts, but the overall aspect was very like gladiator-y. And so it was
That's
great.
cool.
She was a sex icon, but she was also a badass female power icon. She was essentially like Wonder Woman, but like I don't
Medieval.
not really medieval. She fit under like again like the mythology aspect. Like she was essentially an Amazonian. She was tall. I don't know where her original concept came from, but if I had to guess, it was like Ares Amazonian kind of concept. I think she probably spurred off of Wonder Woman.
I want to bring it back to Powerpuff Girls real quick, just as a couple of fun facts here. So I don't know if you guys know, but Tom Kenny, voice of SpongeBob, was a couple of voices in that show. He was the narrator as well as the mayor, and I think he had a couple other like small parts too, which I thought
Oh yeah,
was like really interesting. You can hear it for sure.
you can hear a little bit of
Um,
SpongeBob in the mayor's voice.
but
Oh, probably.
however, did you guys also know that Tom Kenny is also an executive producer of the original Pokemon series?
Oh, really? The
Yeah.
Johto, the Indigo leader, I mean?
Yeah, the like where Ash gets his Pikachu.
Now, is that
like
executive producer? Is in like it's a super vague position? He could have just like showed up and helped him one day, or
no,
like he
executive
actually put in a
producer,
lot of work into
he
it.
puts in work to get this going. He like does a lot of like financial behind it, making sure that there's people that are paying them so they can make the movie and getting things put together and getting props or it's a big part. Producer is huge. An executive producer leads it.
Wow, he
Oh,
was in a
I
lot of
love
shows.
I love
Yeah.
Tom
Oh,
Kenny
Tom
even more
Kenny's
now.
ridiculous. Yes, but no, he was actually an executive producer of the original Pokemon series because I was watching it with my almost 2-year-old. She's actually obsessed with Pokemon, and I couldn't be prouder. But we were watching the show on Netflix because it's there, and it popped up saying Tom Kenny, executive producer, one of 3, and I was like, "There's no way that's the same Tom Kenny." I looked it up. It's the Tom Kenny, SpongeBob Tom
Yeah.
Kenny. I was like, "Holy shit, that's crazy!"
He
I
was
had no clue.
he was in Dexter's Lab, he was in
Oh, it's
Foster's Home,
dude, you name it, he was in it.
Futurama, The
You name it, he was in it.
Boondocks. He was in the
He was in the
Boondocks.
Boondock. Dude, that's a show I need to start watching. I see it referenced so much, and I got so many like memes from it, and it's like, God, this show looks hilarious.
You actually
never watched
you
the
wouldn't
Boondocks?
believe how many people are in Boondocks as well. Like I
Oh,
just found
Mark
out
Hamill's in it.
recently. Yeah. No, I just found out recently that the voice actor for Zuko from Avatar is also in Boondocks as a character. It's a side character, but he's a character. I was
That's
like, what the hell?
fantastic.
I heard it and I was like, oh my god, that's Zuko. That's
Samuel L.
crazy.
Jackson.
Dude, there's
Tara
so many people in
Strong,
Boondocks, it's crazy. And then Tom Kenny, if you can name it, chances are he voiced somebody in it. It's ridiculous. Dude has like the biggest voice acting repertoire.
Oh yeah, like
His
him
resume
and
is
Tara Strong has
crazy.
voiced half of our childhood.
Legit, yeah. Like for sure. With D. Bradley Baker, same thing. Dude's in like everything.
Yep.
He's a huge, and he's not even like a main character voice actor. He does a lot of like sound effects or like side character effects. Like it's
Oh yeah, D. Bradley Baker. He's never the main character, but
he's always a side, but he's so like he's huge in my eyes. He's one of
That's
my
not-
like voice acting heroes.
Yeah, he's never the main character, and I don't mean that like against him. Like he's always plays an awesome side character.
Exactly. They're like big roles too, or they're just like something you wouldn't think. Like I think he does like Boomy on Avatar, but he also I think does like Momo or Appa or some like side voice like that. It's like really like what?
Yeah, voice
Yeah, it's
acting is
crazy.
crazy, man. They can fit a lot of different roles.
Yeah, exactly.
What? There's the Patrick Star Show. What the fuck is
Oh,
this?
we're gonna move on from that. That's absolute fucking garbage.
What the
It is
fuck is
horrendous.
this?
It's not
Yeah,
the
it's
same
bad.
at all. His parents are not the same. He has a little octopus little sister. It's garbage. It is horrendous. It is banned from my house.
Yeah, it's
All
Don't.
really
right. Well,
bad.
Just
so I
don't.
just found your favorite TV show.
No,
So
it's awful.
It's
It's
new
a
age
disgrace
SpongeBob.
to SpongeBob. It's a disgrace.
It's new age SpongeBob when SpongeBob had a lot of really bad episodes.
Yeah, it is. And
Yeah, it's
but-
really
but-
bad.
But they didn't stick
Oh,
to like the
that
canon
sucks,
of
'cause-
SpongeBob and Patrick's family
No.
at
Oh,
all
really?
in any way,
Well,
shape, or form.
Was there ever canon in the early SpongeBob though? Because there's like
Yes.
the two people that say they're his parents, and then it's like, wait a minute, we don't have a son.
Yeah,
then
and
they
then
just
his
leave.
real parents are there.
Oh,
they
they
show
were?
up.
Yeah, they
That's
show up
what-
after.
That's what initially. No, it was before because Squidward walks up saying, "Are these idiots with you?" And it's like two of his actual parents. They've been yelling for Patrick outside my door all day. And it's like, Mom, Dad, and then they do the whole hug like, you remember to wear pants this time, and then the other two are like, oh yeah, honey, that's right, we don't have a kid. That was the end of the episode. Like,
Oh yeah, I go. Okay,
so he
yeah,
had parents,
I
and it's
forgot.
not
I
the
forgot
same
about half that
parents.
episode.
Dude, I still watch SpongeBob. My kids still watch it constantly. So that episode
Dude,
was
the first
like last week.
I want to say up until like 2007, every episode before the year 2007, absolute great episode. There was like maybe one mediocre episode in the first 5 or 6 seasons.
Yeah, no, it's to the point now that I can quote like the first 6 seasons verbatim. Like, it's crazy. If it's playing, it's chances are I can say it all. That's crazy. Did you guys? This is again like another obvious one. There's Ben 10. Did you guys watch that? You'd like that?
Original Ben 10, yes.
like
Original,
that.
yes. I also like the teen years a bit too. It was a little bit of a branch off, but anything after that one, no.
That
Like
was
when Kevin Levin had his car.
I never watched so I liked Ben 10, but I never like got into it when I was little. When it first came out, I didn't get into it. Mostly because my brother really liked it, and as a kid, I'm like, oh, my brother likes it, so I can't like it. I don't know why I was like that, but I remember being like that, and I hate it.
Actually, speaking of Zuko, the voice actor for Zuko, did you guys know that he also had his own show called American Dragon, Jake Long, that he voiced the main character?
I remember watching that show. I did not know it was the same actor, though.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
I
the
didn't know it
same
was the
guy
same
that voiced
actor
him.
either.
And then the guy that voices Bender from Futurama voices his
John
like
DiMaggio.
Don DiMaggio. He is the voice of the dog in that show.
Wow.
John DiMaggio, he just does any voice he does, I'm gonna laugh
It's
at it.
it's just Bender.
I love it.
It's literally
It's-
just Bender. Like,
No, you
imagine
wanna
Bender's
watch-
voice. That's what it is. Just without the swears because it's a kid show.
Sometimes, and then you get a show like Disenchanted, and it's just medieval Bender, and it's.
I mean, that's
Yeah, pretty much.
that's
That's the same
the
creator,
thing,
so
yeah.
Yeah.
He was also, fun fact, in one of my favorite animations, Princess Mononoke.
Oh, you know what? I added that to my
John-
HBO list, my Max
John
list, because
DiMaggio
I
was
saw
in
it.
Princess Mononoke.
He was in Princess Mononoke, yes.
Huh? I haven't watched that in years.
Also, Will, how have you not seen that before?
I haven't seen
Yeah,
this before.
let's circle
no.
back to that, Will.
We talked about this before, didn't we? You said it was like your
Me?
favorite, and I like didn't see it. And you said, "Oh, I have to
Yeah.
watch
Well, even
that."
if-
Yeah, we talked about this
Even
before.
even if we did talk about it before, we need to shame you again.
We're already repeating
fantastic
topics,
movie.
guys. It's only been 8 episodes.
Yeah, but Princess Mononoke is near and dear to my heart. How
Yeah,
dare
no,
you, sir?
it's on my Max list. I have a whole bunch of movies that are on my HBO Max list and my Netflix list that are like old anime like movies and stuff that I want to watch with my wife and daughter, and that's on there.
It just boggles my mind that a lot of people passed over Princess Mononoke, but they saw Spirited Away. Don't get me wrong, Spirited Away is fantastic, but everyone's just like, "Oh, Spirited Away is the best one." I'm like,
Well,
but what about the ones
that's-
before it?
It's the one that I saw in theaters. Like, I didn't see any other anime besides that. I wasn't allowed to watch anything that was like anime. Like Dragon Ball was never allowed. I was allowed to watch Pokemon, and that was it. And then even like later on when you had like Bakugan and Beyblade and shit, like I was older when that came out, so it was like, okay, you can watch it now. But by that time, like Dragon Ball, I was already past that, and there wasn't a way to watch Dragon Ball Z to catch up with Dragon Ball Kai and all that shit, so I didn't get to go back to watch it. And then the movies, there was no way to watch them either unless you would literally buy the DVDs
Or Blockbuster.
or Blockbuster. But again, I didn't know anime besides these couple that are like pop culture anime, not these like the good ones that came out. It was the Pokemon, the Beyblade, the Bakugan, stuff like that. Yu-Gi-Oh. It was typical
actually-
TV for me.
Off of
So-
TV shows, I had no idea John DiMaggio did the voice of Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't either.
No,
Actually,
he's been in a bunch of games too.
Yes, it was actually Batman shows. Yeah, he played the Joker.
I also have two. I have two more here on this list just to finish off, if you guys don't mind. Like my list here of like
Sure.
these are just like the top shows from like my childhood here. So it was like I have Danny Phantom, which
Classic.
is still honestly
Solid.
one of my favorites. I still love that whole concept. It's fantastic to me. And then Kids Next Door, that one I think should have a reboot.
Speaking of Kids Next Door, that's kind of what spurred me to talk about this topic this week. I watched a YouTube video a few weeks ago about a guy going through and explaining the lore of the whole show. Like going between all the episodes, like, hey, here's the lore from this, and then the next episode. And growing up, it's like, wow, I didn't realize, like, I caught on to some stuff like, oh, hey, I remember that. That's a callback to that. Those two were connected. Oh, there's her older sister is a spy now because she's a teenager. Stuff like that. But I never sat down and watched it, like, in order. Because I just, oh, cool, Kids Next Door is on. I'll watch it. But there's so much to that show, and it 1000% deserves a reboot. 100%, or at least a continuation.
Yeah, a continuation. They could even do like all new kids. Like the previous KNDs have grown up and they've had kids and now they're in the KND. Like that'd be cool to me. Cuz I mean it was 20 years ago that the show came out. So these kids who were
That
all
old
like
already?
yeah, it was a while ago. It was when we were young. So maybe 15, 20 years ago. It was old. So
I'm
if
pretty
you
sure
think-
they did a video with older KND when they're adults or something like that, and
Did they?
it was not received very well.
Well, I'm saying not like that. It won't be their story as adults now. It'll be like the original KND kids all grew up. They had kids, and now those kids are the mains, like the KND mains. So there's a new number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever. Also,
Yeah.
did you guys when you were young realize that I think it's number 2 is the black girl?
Number 5.
Number 5 is
Okay.
the Black Girl.
So number 5, did you guys realize that her father was supposed to be Bill Cosby?
When was that?
In the show. It wasn't like Bill Cosby, but he did the pudding pop and the pop, like the whole thing that Bill Cosby
Oh
does.
yeah,
He was just
Stereotypical-
Bill Cosby. Like
yeah. Oh yeah. You want to talk about an inclusive show, by the way? You had fucking bald people. You had a black girl. You had an Asian girl.
a fat kid.
You had a
Yeah.
fat kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they were all cool.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that the kid that was young and underage, like a child, was bald. Poor kid.
Poor kid, I know, honestly.
Well, that's I'll say that's number 1. That's explained. Like he had to go bald after I can't remember now, but there's a reason why he shaves his head every day.
Just imagine being a kid though and having to shave your head.
No, it still sucks, but like there's a reason to it. It's not just shitty genetics.
Oh, okay. I mean, I think there was like a stress where he has like a like he's balding on top or something, and the sides are like still there, so he has to just shave.
Yeah,
He's got
There's
like that
even-
awkward
there's-
like football head.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
yeah.
speaking
Hey
of football
Arnold.
head, what about Hey Arnold? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Hey Arnold's good.
That was a good show. How did we forget about that one?
I mentioned it earlier.
No, it's
I didn't
it's
hear
been
you.
mentioned a few times. Pay attention, Will.
I'm sorry. I was doing research.
Yeah, I could tell. You just had to hijack this episode and make it yours.
I just had a big list. I was like, hold on. There's probably a lot of people that are saying, but what about this one? And I'm like, I got to make a list here of all the actual top
That's why I brought
shows.
Recess into the conversation, because I'm pretty sure if I didn't say Recess, people would get really upset about that.
Right. Yeah, even the movie. That was a good
See,
movie.
I missed the Recess hype train. I never got into that.
What did you do as a
Oh,
kid?
man, that was good.
Hold on, when did Recess come out? What was I
You're a
watching
little
at
late to the
time?
party now at this
I
point.
think Recess was late 90s, early thousands.
Yeah,
Oh
probably.
yeah, well, I mean, I was 1 year old when it came out, and I was
Yeah,
9 when it stopped airing, so I
like I
kind of
said,
missed
yeah.
that train.
No, I still watched it. I actually got introduced to it by the movie, and then like because my grandmother bought me the movie just because she was like, "Oh, look at this animated kids show. They're all having recess." Okay. Little did she know that it was about like like the kids pretending to be spies and breaking into the school and blah blah blah. But yeah, then I was like, "Oh, I like that movie," and then she was like, "Oh, I found another one," and it was the show. So she got me like a DVD set of her. Actually, at that point, it was a VCR.
That's pretty good.
So I can't really say, oh, it's before my time, because I'm looking at it. It's like, oh, what was out? What was out at the time? And I'm like, oh, I watched As Told by Ginger, Rugrats, Rocket Power. I remember watching Dave the Barbarian. So it's
Oh yeah,
like, okay,
Rocket Power for sure.
Rocket Power
Oh,
was
you know
good.
what? I was gonna say that one before. Actually, it was on my screen of like obscure shows. It's not obscure, but it was on the screen. Rocket Power was another good one. Yeah, I like that one.
I
That
watched
show
Rocket
actually
Power.
got me into skateboarding, and then I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
keep up with it.
Oh,
I
dude,
played.
between that and the Tony Hawk games, for sure.
Yeah, I played Tony
Yeah,
Hawk when I was a
exactly.
kid, so that really kicked me off when it came to skateboarding. Actually, funny story at that. I was skateboarding one time down the road, and some dude that lived down the road from me, I didn't know about, saw me skateboarding, and he pulled over and said, "Oh, hey, you skateboard? That's awesome." I was like, "I didn't know this guy," and I'm like, "Yeah, totally." And I was like, probably maybe 16, and he invited me to his house. They were doing a celebration of life because a friend of theirs died. And I was like, whatever, man, I got nothing I'm doing. So I went over to his house. He had a skateboard ramp inside of his house.
What?
He had a quarter
What?
pipe. He had a quarter pipe in his house. Yeah, and he was
Wait, are you
sponsored.
talking like in the yard?
No, well, yeah, he had one in the yard too, but he had one inside of his house. It was just really I was lost. Like they had music playing, they had their own personal band downstairs playing music. People were drinking. I had no idea who anyone was, and I didn't skateboard very well at all. And they were ripping it up on the quarter pipe inside of his house, and I was like, I gotta come here more often. This guy's crazy, and it was
That
awesome.
is
I went there a few
crazy.
times. I learned how to ride a ramp. Hated it. I am more of a street skater than a vert skater by every means, but it was great. It was cool. Yeah, very very fun time to have to find that out. And I was like, man, I wish I was younger and knew this existed. I would have came here eons ago. He was sponsored by Vermont skateboards. So
No
he
shit.
That's wicked cool.
was amateur, I guess technically. Yeah,
If he's sponsored and getting paid, I guess that's technically professional.
I don't really know what the
Correct.
qualifying line is, but he didn't really do
Professional
like.
is you get paid to do it. Amateur is
Not
you
that
don't.
I don't think
not
he
that
got.
you're any good at it. You just get paid for it and you're a professional.
I don't think he
Yeah,
got
well,
paid for it. I think they gave him stuff.
it doesn't have professional doesn't have to do with skill. It has to do with qualification. Like you're getting paid
Yeah,
to do it. Whereas if you are good at it, you'd be considered like a master or like expert.
and there's also semi-pro, so he might have been semi-pro at that point.
Oh,
But
maybe. Yeah.
I think they just paid him in sponsorship with materials like skateboards and
Yeah, maybe.
merchandise. So more for their own benefit and for his benefit. Just hey, we'll give you this to keep skating. At the same time, you can also sell this stuff if you want and advertise our product.
Right.
So cool.
Well, yeah, I think that went pretty good. You guys have anything else you wanted to kind of add on to the end of the podcast here, or do you want to wind it down from here?
No, I think it's time for the credits now.
If you want a
Roll credits.
superior cartoon to watch Primal.
A-
You will not be disappointed.
And if you want a superior live action zombie apocalypse TV show with action, comedy, drama, romance, all that works, watch Daybreak. And then sign the petition.
And if you want anything that's just good, just watch anything I listed.
Ooh, Alan with the hot takes.
Nice.
Not controversial at all. They were just really good.
Not at all.
No, you did name some absolute bangers of
You
shows.
I
definitely
got good
did.
tastes. Most times.
Well, thank you everyone for watching with your ears. If you like the show, make sure to hit that follow button so you know when the next episode launches. Also, make sure to give us a review. We might even read it live on the podcast. If you would like to be a guest on the show and have something interesting, funny, or crazy to share, contact me at Contact Watson. That's CONTACTWATSYN at gmail.com. Or you can join the Discord server. The link is in the show notes. Again, thank you all for showing your support. Tune in next time to find out what's up. We done.